My name is Will St. John. I'm a figurative painter. I work oil on canvas. I grew up in Harrisburg, Pennsylvania, and I moved to New York the early 2000s. And I didn't go to college for painting. I never went to art school. I went for creative writing, and I kind of came to art later. I did get, I guess what you could call a Beaux-Arts education, which was studying independently with independent artists in New York and Philadelphia and in Europe. We painted and drew from the live model and from casts, reproductions of ancient sculptures. And I did this for years, basically in people's apartments and private studios. I've been really lucky in that I've been able to kind of construct my world around the things that interest me, and I've been able to sort of become my own person in that way. When I was in my early 20s, I got a Eurail pass and went to probably like 10 different countries, went to all the major museums by myself with the sketch pad and would just stand in museums for hours and hours and hours taking notes and looking and just looking and trying to absorb that direct contact, that one-on-one where it's just you and the painting or the work of art that you're studying, and there's no one in between you telling you what to think about it. It's not a slide and a lecture. So a lot of what I've learned, I think, was through direct experience with great works of art. Very specific technique that I look at a lot and I try and recreate in my own work is chiaroscuro, which is essentially the illusion of light falling on an illuminated surface and creating the texture and essentially the effect of light on what is a two-dimensional surface, which is the surface of your canvas. I'm a father of two young girls, age 5 and 7, and my wife, Colleen Berry, is also a painter. We met when we were studying with an artist named Jacob Collins in New York City, and we have been married for over 10 years. And we're collaborators in the sense that whenever I'm working on a new piece, show it to her before I start painting it, and really to look for her reaction. And there's a certain look that I look for in her face and her expression that gives me a hint or a sign of whether or not this is a work that's actually worth painting or not. And I've been very lucky to be able to find people who have a similar value set and belief in art than I do, and be able to pair up with them and work together. For me, New York has always been the place you can see all the best art, what's going on in the contemporary art world, also great museums and where you can see the best of the past. It all really comes right to your doorstep when you live here, and this makes it possible to see the best of the best and absorb as much as I can. And I feel like you're kind of at the crossroads of a lot of different types of art and cultural production. An artist has to put in a lot of practice before you even start really showing your work. You have to go through many sort of bad work, some false starts, many attempts that fail. And over time, you can start to put it out there more and more. In terms of what I did when I was young, I have stacks and stacks of sketchbooks that, I don't know what I'll be able to do with them. Maybe I'll donate them to a museum one day, but I can't imagine they'd be that interesting because it's not really your unique voice yet, but you're trying to find it through the imitation of other artists' work. And that's something that you have to do, is that you have to imitate others in order to find your own originality. Like, how does that work? It doesn't even really quite make sense, right? But historically, artists that have found their own voice have always done so by first imitating the voice of others for a long period of time. And then slowly their own unique vision comes out of that practice. And I think over time, you start to see yourself emerge in front of yourself. And it's a very strange feeling because you don't always feel like it is you. There is a sense of alienation sometimes when you see your own work. You can't ask yourself, is this me? You just say, this is coming out. I accept it. This is a diary entry, so to speak, of where I am right now. And I'll just keep going. And then over time, you start to emerge. Now that we have social media, you get instant feedback from your audience as to whether or not they like your work. And it's nice to know what your audience feels about your work, if they like it. I think to make your audience happy to some degree, because the painting is not just all about you, it's about the people who see it and who experience it. So it's very tricky to find that kind of balance now in the social media age between how much you listen to your audience and how much you tune your audience out. Without art, I feel like no matter what we build and we create, that humanity has no voice. There's a certain expression that humans can't get out. Even if you're not an artist, just the fact that there are artists out there that are doing creative work, I think gives expression to people who might not themselves even be artists at all. But it's something that we need for our existence. I think to be an artist is the best profession that a person can have. And there's a lot of sacrifice and there's a lot of hard work involved. But I think the rewards are extraordinary, and to be able to just do what you want to do and to pursue your own personal vision, I think I can't imagine anything more than that really in my life.